Hello YouTube, it's Atticus, and how is everybody doing? I have a really cool video for you guys. I met this dude named Obnoxious Potato, and he was a really skilled opponent. We played 3 games. The first 2 were Norska, and I forget the 2 races he played, but he beat me pretty soundly the first 2 games. And this was our 3rd game. I switched to Lizardmen, and it was a really good one, and I wanted to show it to you guys on channel, and he was a really good sport. So, yeah, really, and, it's always good to take a few losses so you could go back in the replays and actually learn something from people, you know what I mean? Learn different builds and things as that. So on this one, the build that I'm taking is actually something I learned from MGL. I actually learned a lot from her as well. It was, taking on 4 cav on the Lizardmen, and that's something generally I wouldn't normally do. I wouldn't normally take this much cav. I never would have thought of it, but yeah, having that kind of mobility against the High Elves, who are traditionally going to be stretched thin already, just gives me a real strategic advantage, and something that, unless your opponent's really expecting it, it could catch them by surprise. So yeah, for my front line, guys, I just took 4 Saurus Warriors. Hope you can hear me okay. 4 Saurus Warriors with a couple chevrons. And these guys are going to be able to deal with spears. Against White Lions, they will lose, but I have Dinos to assist with that, because my lord right here is the Saurus Old Blood. And yeah, the reason I picked him is for one of these buffs he has, called the Horn of Kygor, which will give plus 20 melee attack, leadership, and charge bonus to my army in a radius. So it's going to raise these guys by 25, so that means they're going to have 45 melee attack once I do cast that, which is plenty enough to hold with the White Lions. I also have a Bastiladon with a Revivification Crystal for healing and for armor piercing, so he's going to really help with those White Lions. And then, yeah, you guys can see that I brought a unit of Horn Ones and 2 units of Cold One Spear Riders on this right flank, and on the left flank I have another Spear Rider and a Saurus Scar Veteran. So, yeah, a lot of mobility, a lot of anti-large, and I'm just going to try to overwhelm my opponent. I'm just going to try to get into his back end. His back sounds bad. Try to get into his back defense here, and just either get rear penalties. And you can see it's going to be really important that I do that, because my opponent brought 2 bolt throwers here. So yeah, that's my build, guys. The strategy behind it really is going to be relying on the mass cavalry, which is something you don't really expect from Lizardmen. What do you expect from Lizard? Usually dinosaurs, big dinosaurs. But when you do the cav game, pretending like you're in the Empire, I'm telling you, it could throw your opponent off guard. So for my opponent's build, and it's a really powerful one, he said he was kind of experimenting with the bolt throwers. But he took a Lario on the Eagle. Obviously, can have access to the healing. Looks like he only took. Oh, hold on, I was reading my own thing. There we go. Looks like we have Earthblood, Banishment, and then the one thing that gives melee attack. I forget what it's called, but it's a radius spell. My opponent also has the Fireborn, which are, amazing anti-large dragon princes, a front line of White Lions, and some spearmen mixed in. The 2 bolt throwers and 2 nobles, guys. Nobles on chariots, so yeah, they are on horses, and these guys are going to be really good armor, armor-piercing anti-large, and they'll be able to hold up my cav. Like, they won't beat my cav, when there's 3 units, but it'll at least hold them in place and do a little damage to it. And you can see he also has a unit of dragon princes on this side as well. So let's go ahead and just start the match here, and we'll look at it. Yeah, so right off the bat, I'm going to start moving my cav into position. I'm going to see that he has the bolt throwers, so I'm going to have to spin my units. I'm going to have to send them running. And you can see I'm going to see these shots coming, and I'm going to change the direction just to try to avoid that first volley. And that's something you guys could do often, is if you're getting shot at, change the direction in which you're going. And yeah, 5 times out of 10, it will dodge this shot. And you can see over here, I'm using the Spear Riders and my Saurus to try to force a mistake out of my opponent. Now, I don't want to charge in. Let's go ahead and pause it for a second, because he has this 1 spear unit here defending. So if I was to send these guys in here, he'd be able to reinforce. So what I need to do is I need to wait on this Saurus Warrior right here to come in, hold up those spears, and then I can commit to the actual engagement. You can see my opponent is going to try to get an early charge in with these Dragon Princes, but I'm going to see that, so I'm going to pull back these Saurus Warriors. There's no sense taking a free charge, and I'm going to try to intercept him with my Bastiladon. Over here, you can see we've just been juking back and forth, trying to avoid those bolt throwers. And you can see he's going to try to get another charge, but I am going to clip him. I'm going to slow some of his units. It is going to allow him to get a little bit of a charge, but it was a little neutered. And you see my Saurus Old Blood is going to get in the back and, yeah, keep those guys busy. Over here, I am going to almost make a mistake. At last minute, I did catch it, and I'm able to pull my men back, as you can see right here. That could have been really devastating, because they would have held him up, and then I would have got a charge to the Dragon Princes. Over here, you can see that my idea is to get one of these units around the back, and I'm going to need to keep my eye on the Fireborn. I don't want those guys getting my lord out of position. So let's go ahead and just speed it back up here. So yeah, you can see we did a lot of damage to the Fireborn. We actually did more damage to him than he did to us. And you can see over here, yeah, we're pulling away my units, and I'm just waiting on these Saurus Warriors. I need to fight next to them because those spears will actually, defeat me. And you can see my Dragon Princes, my Saurus All Blood, and everything is just collapsing around these Saurus Warriors right here, or these White Lions. I am finally going to collapse my units right here because I figured at least I had Saurus Warriors to keep me busy. And over here, I'm just going to commit with these units. They are anti-large, but my opponent doesn't have an anti-large in their place. And I am going to try to intercept these spears that were trying to cut me off with these Saurus Warriors. And you can see that I'm just going around the side here. I'm just clicking, and I need to get around those bolt throwers because otherwise those bolt throwers will just snipe me. You can see my opponent is getting the healing spell. And yeah, it's going to heal him up, but over the long engagement, I do feel like it's going to favor me because of the terror caused by my dinosaurs. You can see that we're getting a really lucky pick over here. We got my Saurus Warriors, my Cold One Knights around the back, and we're going to be able to shut down those bolt throwers, which are doing a lot of damage. And you can see we've just collapsed this front line. White Lions might do a lot of damage, but they don't really stay in combat, that long. And you can see that, yeah, my Cold One Spill Riders are keeping the Fireborn from getting a lot of different charges on me. We are in this bolt thrower now, thankfully, and we're going to be able to shut that down pretty soon. And you can see I have Saurus Warriors just trading with Spearmen, and yeah, the Saurus Warriors will win that one-on-one. So right now we are outnumbering my opponent. He does have this little pocket of nobles right here, but yeah, they're tied down with the Saurus Warriors, so they're not really able to hit my Saurus Veteran, who does need to get out of that combat there, because he's going to take a little damage. You can see over here the Fireborn are escorting some of my Cold One Knights off the map, which is unfortunate, but I do have this one unit in reserve, which I'm going to send to chase after these guys. He is going to land and get a little bit of a charge in, but yeah, you can see that I am intercepting with my Saurus Scar Veteran. And yeah, he's just going to keep cycle charging, which is really smart. You can see that I do go around the White Lions because I just need to hold these guys up. And you can see I had a returning unit of Horde ones that's going to get into those guys and keep them from getting their charge. So yeah, all around the map, guys. Just going to just pause it right now. Yeah, we're keeping him contained, which is really important when fighting the Dragon Princes and units like that. Over here you can see my Bastiladon is dealing with the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower, but he has these two nobles that could possibly come in there and that cause, it could kill my Bastiladon if he really wanted to. But yeah, you can see that we're just collapsing in on his Fireboard, and that's his MVP unit. He needs that. And I have a T-Rex, I have 2 units of Cold Ones, I got Horn Ones, and all my Saurus Warriors just collapsing in, while the 2 Saurus Warriors here are just keeping up his 3 actually. Well, my lord, who's an infantry-focused lord. He's not anti-large when he's on the Stegodon, on the Cold One. So just keep that in mind. You can see we're holding up all his reinforcements. So yeah, we've contained him. We've surrounded him with anti-large, and this is kind of what my plan was. And we've shut down his bolt throwers. So yeah, both bolt throwers are shut down. I have a unit of Saurus Warriors over here that are in good health. And yeah, you can see, guys, that all my anti-large is just making really quick work of those Dragon Princes. He has these 2 nobles in reserve, which he needs to get into combat, as soon as possible. And he is going to send them in, but it looks like he's trying to... Yeah, there he goes. He is going to get a banishment spell off. And it does kind of veer off a little bit, but it does a lot of damage. You can see it really hurt this one unit of Cold One Spear Riders, and we have just about broken the Fireborn. We're not allowing those guys to get away. And with the combined pressure of the Cold One Spear Riders and the T-Rex, it doesn't matter how much healing he does. Those guys are just not going to be long for the world. And yeah, you can see over here the Nobles and Ilaria are surrounded by anti-large. We've broken most of his infantry over here. Now he does have this unit of Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers that are trying to get into combat, so I need to keep my eye on that. I can't let those things get back into service and start shooting at my lord or my cavalry. But yeah, guys, you see there he goes trying to pull away. And he's my opponent is just really good at cycle charging, but you can see I do try to block him with this Bastiladon. I don't want him getting any charges off, and it's reducing some of the damage that I would otherwise take. And you can see the T-Rex is just making short work of the Noble. Yeah, the Noble might be powerful, but it's just not he's not anything compared to the T-Rex. And you can see I was forced to send my lord into this bolt thrower to shut it down. Like I said, it's really important that I do not let him get that thing back to shooting my men. And yeah, all across the map here, guys, you can see we've pretty much weakened all his units. We have a really strong position and lead on the balance of power. You can see that this Horn One is chasing this Noble. We have broken this one. He's down to 3 units of the Dragon Princes. And yeah, the infantry fight is pretty much ours, guys. It really helps with this Bastillodon. He's really helping out with the armor piercing to beat these white lions. You can see that he is going to try to goon my lord, which was something that I kind of panicked. I was like, oh wow, I don't want that happening. But I'm quickly going to, apologize for that lag spike there, I'm quickly going to send all my forces to reinforce them. And you can see my Bastillodon has been getting off healing throughout the whole game. But you can see he's quickly taking away my lord. But one of the good things about the source is he has a 66% reduction, damage reduction talent, which I did take, which is keeping him from, taking as much damage as he normally would have. And you can see there goes the revivification crystal. Just keeping my, topping my lord off. I have some cold ones and my T-Rex, and yeah, the good thing about this is when their leadership's that low, is he's gonna, it's gonna rot his units. They're not gonna stay around that long. And Ilario, she does have a little bit of armor piercing up on that eagle, but there's just way too much units for her to, even if she does keep trying to cycle charge. You can see the angry T-Rex is right on her heel, and yeah, we've pretty much just broken our units. He does have this one little pocket over here that has been dealing with my Cold One Spear Riders, but he's not getting this for free. These guys are anti-large, so they're going to be able to give as much damage back to him, even though he is getting that unit, My opponent is going to land Ilario into these Saurus Warriors, but yeah, their leadership is okay right now, and it's going to allow me to collapse my units onto Ilario. Another good thing about the Eagle is that she has really low leadership, which will keep, mass, which will make it not easy for her to escape. And you can see that I'm just keeping the bolt thrower from coming back. My opponent was really on top of, getting his bolt throwers back to operational whenever the opportunity arises. But yeah, now I see that my lord is kind of exposed all by himself, and I know my opponent, what he's up to. He is going to try to goon her, so I'm going to start sending all my forces back in that general direction again. And I'm keeping everything pocketed together because my opponent's been really good at singling out units. So if I kind of Death Star it right now, he won't have an opportunity really to do that. You can see these one little spears he leaves as a barrier, but I do break through them with just one hit. And yeah, I got my T-Rex over here, so at least I do have some anti-large support. And I am just trying to get him over back to the main army. He is going to land. But yeah, guys, you can see the T-Rex is going to come in to support my lord. I am going to cast a thing that gives me stand my ground, and I do believe I cast a damage resistant thing, and I also get a revivification off. So I'm just, keep healing him up. And there comes my big Death Star unit. Just collapsing in on these remaining high elf units, and the balance of power at this point is really high in my lead, guys. And you can see he's going to get one more charge, but the T-Rex is going to give it right back to him, and I am going to hold him up with my Saurus Orb Blood. And yeah, all his units are breaking. He is going to send his Ilario in for one final charge, but yeah, we're just going to smash in on her, and that will be game. So, really good game to my opponent. Let's go ahead and look at the in-screen breakdown and talk about some of the keys to my success. So yeah, guys, if you look at it, it was just really cav focused. The Saurus Warriors were more than adequate enough to hold up the high elf infantry, and you have the mobility advantage. You're going to have 4 units, well 5 if you count the T-Rex, that could just swarm the high elves, and we were able to lock him down. We were able to keep his forces in little pockets, and we were able to minimize some of the damage that he would do through his cycle charging. That's one thing that I learned in some of our other games, is if I keep my units separate, his micro is really on top of it, and he'll just keep cycle charging me to oblivion. So it was really important to have the mobility game myself, keep my units, keep him contained, keep units, his cav separate from his infantry and so on like that. I needed to protect my lord to keep from gooning. So you saw whenever I was forced to go out of position, I would reinforce them as soon as possible, as soon as it was able. And the last thing I would take from this, guys, is the Saurus Orb Blood is a really good choice when you're fighting an opponent who's really good at like microing, cycle charging, sniping lords, just because he's so tanky. His 66% damage reduction talent, and on top of the revivification crystal kind of takes that opportunity away from him, which will make it a lot easier for me to win. But it was a really good game. Good game to Obnoxious Potato. And guys, I'll see you later. This is Atticus, and good night.